Hi, everybody. It's great to be back together again, or at least as together as we can be these days. Today is Palm Sunday, and that's a really important day, and it leads us into a really important week in the church, Easter week. It's also an important week because some of you are celebrating birthdays this week and into next week. Tristan, I think you're going to be 9 next Sunday, am I right? Wow, almost double digits. A number of our friends are having birthdays these days, and birthday parties look a lot different than they did a few weeks ago, don't they? We can't get together with our friends the way we'd like to, but those days will come back. In the meantime, we can enjoy finding different ways to be together and to celebrate. When I think of celebrating, one of the things I remember are parades. Do you like a parade? Me too. The last parade I was at, I think, was at Christmas time. Pretty sure I went to the Santa Claus parade. And when we think of parades, we think of celebrations, don't we? We might, we might put on a fancy hat to go to the parade, or we might wave a flag. On Canada Day, I always wave my Canadian flag, and sometimes we go to parades for our favorite sports teams. When they win a big championship, often cities have parades for them, and we can yell and make noise. It's pretty exciting. Well, on Palm Sunday, thousands of years ago in Jesus' time, they had a bit of a parade for Jesus as well. And it was pretty exciting for the people because Jesus was coming back into Jerusalem, and it was a pretty exciting time. He had done all these miracles, he had raised Lazarus from the dead recently, and people wanted to see this Messiah and what he was all about. Now, when I think of a parade, usually, especially if it's a community parade or for sports teams, the main characters come down the middle of the street, usually in a big black limousine or something like that. Or if you think of Santa, he comes at the very end of the parade in a huge float with lights and music and lots of celebration, and people are yelling. Well, it was a little bit like that for Jesus as well. But Jesus wasn't that kind of person that wanted a lot of showy attention and look at me. So as he was coming into Jerusalem, he sent a couple of his disciples ahead to a town, and he said, "Get me a donkey. I'll ride in on a donkey." Now that might seem like a strange choice. He could have ridden in on a great big war horse. After all, he was becoming famous for all the things he was doing. But that wasn't Jesus' style. And the other thing about a donkey, donkeys represent peace. And I think Jesus wanted the people to know that he was coming in peace to peacefully talk to them and do the things to continue his ministry just the way he had been. The other thing about parades, and we've talked about waving flags and things, well, people didn't have flags back then necessarily. What they did have were palm branches, and they waved their palm branches just like we normally do at Parkdale, but we can't do it this year. But palm branches were also very important because they represent victory. And we talked about how victorious Jesus was, doing all of his miracles and ministering to people all around the area. Now, some people threw down the palm branches so Jesus would have a nice clear path to ride the donkey on. Other people threw down their clothes, their coats, so that it would pave the way. Well, we can't really do that right now. But what could we throw down? Maybe we could throw down some of our thoughts, some of our good thoughts that would welcome Jesus this week. And we welcome him in our hearts. So we invite him in and we think, Jesus, we believe in all the amazing things that you did in your time. And we know that God sent you to teach us so much about life everlasting and about forgiveness of sins. And all of those things are wrapped up into the parade that we can have for Jesus in our own hearts today. So let's think this week very clearly about how celebratory we are today. We want to yell, Hosanna, in the highest voice we can. Try it with me right now. Hosanna! That was awesome. I bet they heard you way outside. Anyway, I want you to have an awesome week, and I want you to think about Jesus peacefully coming into Jerusalem to all of his followers, and how all these many years later, we are still his followers. We believe in him and in the gift God gave us by giving us his son. You have a wonderful week and take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.